Good morning and welcome to Saturday special of Dr.Lamba's Awakening Call. Couple of days back, Indians all over, whether in India or abroad, but people of Indian origin, celebrated a festival. And that festival is essentially a celebration, according to them, the love between brother and sister. The sister ties a thread around the wrist of the brother, and the brother offers her gifts, signifying that he'll always look after her, take care of her. Now that's great, but that's really not great. This is in fact lowering the sanctity of the festival. This brother sister relationship is always there, and this filial love, this fraternal affection, to be celebrated is nothing wrong. But is Raksha Bandhan only that? No. As a matter of fact, the reality is that the festival of Raksha Bandhan is essentially a festival of destroying vices and earning virtues. What happens is that we start with one thing, and then the real thing is lost, and symbolism is lost, and something very normal, routine, assumes a greater significance. I'm not saying that the love between brother and sister is not important. Well, in a family, that's important. But then in the changed circumstances, is it there? And then the very concept of tying the Rakhi has changed. It's more commercialized now. And that commercialization has taken away whatever sanctity remained. Now, what is Raksha Bandhan? Literally, Raksha Bandhan means bond of protection. And it is celebrated on full moon day in the month of Sharvana, as you have, it happened this month. And if you look at the mythology, there's many references to it. But the most important one, which really initiated the religion, people have forgotten that. That was, as I said, destruction of all the vices. And the process of getting virtuous is a process. What happened was there was a 12-year-long battle between the gods and the demons. And the demons were fighting with great force. And 12 years, is a very long time. Ultimately, the demons emerged victorious. And then what happened? They snatched away heaven from the angels, the gods. Imagine the gods being defeated. Now steps in Indra, the king of the gods, and he vowed to reaffirm his sovereignty over the heaven. And he said, okay, we'll fight another war with the demons. And here is something very important. When he was going for a war, Indra's wife, Indrani, she tied a Raksha Sutra. Raksha is protective, Sutra is the thread. So Raksha Sutra around his wrist as a symbol of purity and protection, that this is my purity, and the purity of my mind, the purity of my heart shall protect you, Indra, and you shall be victorious. So even the god had to be protected by the virtue to conquer the vice. Now, was Indrani the sister of Indra? No, Indrani was his wife. So, tying the thread by the sister on the brother's wrist is not something which is only tied there. Anybody, it can be a daughter tying the thread to a father, wife with a husband, sister. So, anybody tying the thread says, okay, all my the virtues I want go with you, go and be successful, and then when you are successful, you will provide me protection. Indra won the war, and the gods rejoice as they claim their sovereignty over heaven. Of course, there's another legend. Raksha Bandhan, known, is also called Vish Todak Parv. Vish is poison, Todak is breaking, Parv is festival. The festival of destroying the poison. What's the poison in the human mind? This is the vices. So this is a festival which destroys the vices. And this ceremony is called Punya Pradayak Parv. That you not only destroy the wish, the poison, but you also get punya. Punya is virtues. And this festival is double phase. One, it destroys the vice. Secondly, it earns the virtues. And during the Hindu month of Sharvana, devotees travel long distances to visit temples to pour water on the Shivlinga. Now, Shivlinga water pouring is not a celebration of brother and sister love. And the religious concludes with the Raksha Bandhan celebration. So here it is. But let me tell you one thing very clearly. I am again not saying that it should not be there, because there is also another story in the legends. What happened was, Yamuna, the sister of Lord Yam, the god of death, tied a Rakhi round his waist, round his wrist, and Yam declared that whosoever overcame lust and tied this bond of purity would be free from the fear of death and eventually attain immortality. So here it was a sister, but as I said earlier, it's not necessarily the sister should tie that. Actually, the Bollywood, the Hindi movies, have diverted the attention from the reality to the superficial. Then the modeling sentimentalism, cribbing sad songs, and all that, and the commercialization. Now, what has happened? Raksha Bandhan has become a mere ritual without the rich values it stands for. The sisters even now tie a thread on the wrist of the brothers, apply tilk on their forehead. Brother offer gifts and vow to protect the sisters as and when required. Now, is that possible today? With the brothers, and then sending Rakhi abroad, But then reality is it has a subtler meaning. It has a deeper and wider spiritual implication. And then another thing which I like you to be clear, Raksha Bandhan is closely linked with Lord Shiva. It's a bond of purity, symbol of divine protection. It signifies invoking of the spiritual bonding that it is said to experience exists between the Supreme Soul and the human souls, who always seek his divine blessings. So, from the purely mortal level, we are elevating to the highest spiritual level where the divine blessings and the Raksha, the protection, is provided by the gods themselves. And that's why the pouring of the milk on the Shivlinga. Now, another thing which I changed, which is a part of commercialization, Rakhi ritual is tying a mauli on the wrist. It's a reminder to perform pure actions through the sense organs. But tying these ornamental Rakhis takes away the sanctity of mauli. Then applying the tilk on the forehead is to make us aware of the true self, that is to be soul conscious. Tilk is applied between the eyebrows on the forehead from where the Kundalini is awakened. It's a pressure point which helps you realize yourself. But all that has been forgotten and the real thing has been ignored. But looking at the reality, nobody can deny that the festival is a great festival in making us better human beings, in reaching the highest level of spirituality. What happens is when you apply this and this pressure, regular practice you have to adopt of the soul consciousness, where values, attitudes, and actions enable you to view and treat fellow human beings as brothers and sisters. That's what's important. They are soul brothers, and under the spiritual fatherhood of one corporeal, supreme soul God. That incorporeal supreme soul God. We, being the children of that, seek the protection of the Almighty. Now, imbibing of such pure vision towards all leads us to the realization of Hindu culture and the age-old ideals of the universal brotherhood and one world familyhood. So it transcends the relationship. As I said, the legends of the Rajput queens sending Rakhi to Humayun to seek protection, that all is good in stories. But the reality is much more. The legend of Indra is symbolic of practicing purity in thought, word, and deeds. Again, it's a purity in thought, it's a purity in words, it's purity in deeds. And then you can attain sovereignty over your soul by defeating the unruly demonic forces. And those demonic forces are having a perpetual fight within your soul. So your mind has to become victorious. This is exactly what is written in Sikh religion, Man Jeete Jag Jeet. So in fact, one who conquers the vices, the lust and the other vices, not only experiences sovereignty over mind, sovereignty over intellect, sovereignty over senses, but also enjoys a better life because of the resulting peace, harmony, holistic health, happiness in this world and hereafter. Pledging purity, adhering to soul-centric values of fellow being, love, kindness and compassion in daily life. They are the sacred values which are symbolized by the sacred thread, the mauli that is tied around. The sacred ceremony of Rakhi stands for all that. And that is our real protection from the vices, negativity, and stressful living. It is going much more than that. As I said, brother-sister love is important, but it is just a small part of the whole complete, all-comprehensive value of Rakhi. Rakhi as a whole symbolizes man's perpetual fight, the way gods and the demons fought for long 12 years, and ultimately, with Indrani tying the thread on Indra's wrist, the gods conquered. Similarly, you have to keep on an everlasting fight to defeat the vices, the demonic forces. Conquer them with love, by the good action, deeds, thoughts, deeds, and action. And that will enable you to get salvation. Not only there, and let you also enjoy happy life. So Raksha Bandhan is much more than is commonly understood. It should be understood in its wider perspective as a festival calling upon to fight the virtues, to protect your sister, protect yourself, and protect the world as a whole. And that is the real significance of Raksha Bandhan. Thank you.